morning chat. Morning dash chat. Okay, so here we go. Then on Odyssey, it's create, confirm, and then all I have to do is, so here we go. Yeah, I'm just turn on YouTube, turn on Odyssey, and then I'm going to start recording right now. Okay. So the recording starting, we're going to use this for Brighteon, and we're live on YouTube if this all sees it. Yep, it does.
Great.
And hopefully this is working on Odyssey as well. Let me just confirm that that is true before we actually start talking. Shows us live.
Yeah. I mean, it's doing the thing.
It's doing the weird confirming thing.
Yeah.
So what we should have in the future is the big countdown. But I mean, yeah. Let's just assume that that's going to go. We're already recording. And actually, I'm going to stop that for the recording now. And then start again. There we go. Okay. So here we are on January 19th, 2023. And me and Val are going to try to just talk our insane commentary on world things and try to make this a daily morning show.
There you go.
Yeah. What are we talking about today, Val?
Randomness. We'll start with your ghost town.
Yeah. So I woke up this morning with an idea. So there's a lot of cities around where we live right now. Within an hour, there's probably more than a dozen of them that have people, a couple hundred people. I mean, these are small cities, but they actually have like a downtown strip that used to have stores, used to have people doing industry, making things, selling things. But first of all, the majority of these towns are just plain ghost towns now, where there's like literally no stores.
Yeah.
They're now just like pass-throughs, and there's like a franchise gas station, and that's like it.
If that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then there's this one town that still has some hope, and I've been thinking to myself, God, it's just inevitable that they're going to go again full ghost town, but then maybe not for a long time, or maybe forever, because it's actually like where this county's sheriff's office is. So this is like the last standing non-ghost town
in this county.
In this county,
you could say, yeah.
In this county, and it's basically a ghost town. I mean, you drive through, it's got just a little bit bigger of a main street than all these other places. Clearly like multiple blocks of restaurants, maybe even a bookstore in the past, like kind of rare-ish cool things.
Yeah. Old cool buildings.
There was probably like a shoemaker and manufacturing on the block behind Main Street, like a lot of these towns had 100, 200 years ago. But now in this world of the owner of the building actually is from China, and they don't even know what's going on. All they're saying to the investment management firm is, I need more money coming in from that building. Do whatever you need to do. Mm-hmm. And so the rent goes up, the leasing terms get worse and worse.
Yeah.
Pushing out the everyday man on the ground who is the shoemaker, the leather belt maker.
Yeah, just wants to provide a service.
Just wants to provide a service, wants foot traffic.
Mm-hmm. But in order to do so, they're almost having to kill their own business because the prices are so high. Like we experienced with, a coffee shop. It's like $5 for a drip coffee and no refills,
And we're not in California or New York.
Yeah.
Coffee, literally $5
Yeah.
for what they have on drip. Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I just see that as the direction it's going unless it changes. And so, I mean, what's the solution? Okay. That's what I'm all about, trying to actually fix things. And the solution is, well, you have to reflect upon I don't know what you call it, a precept or whatever of it's a famous phrase of, if you continue to do what you've always done, you will continue to get what you've always got. And we are in the habit of getting ghost towns. I put it on here. I like this little phrase I typed out. Yeah, ghost townification. It's a plague. Ghost townification is the thing. It is the inevitable, mathematical, guaranteed outcome of the current system. Mm-hmm. The current system, in which is really just temporary prop-ups via infusion of this fake money stuff, where it creates a temporary, what looks like an economic boom in a region. But really all that's happening is people are burning down this unsustainable infusion of truly non-value. Like there's no leather worker on the ground, making something that is of greater value than the materials he's taking in. Raw leather.
To add to this, I remember in another town nearby, you have people that are just holding on to their property because they think, oh, one day, this land will be worth a certain amount. So I'm going to hold on to it and not do anything on it. So therefore, stopping any sort of economic growth in the town.
Yeah.
Therefore, killing it, and it will never be worth anything.
Yep. And that's, of course, there's always that percentage of the buildings in these towns is that's what's going on behind the scenes. Is someone's 80 years old. They don't even live in the state anymore. They moved out because ghostification. There was no one else there. None of their friends are left. Oh, I may as well move in with my daughter in upstate New York, who's got the nice house. And
but I'll hold on to that property.
But hold on.
Just in case someone else does kind of like what you're thinking.
What my thinking is.
Yeah.
Ironically,
no one wants to do it themselves.
Ironically, that only contributes to the ghost townification.
Yep.
The greed.
Exactly.
Of waiting for that $5 million cash out for when. See, what they're waiting for is what I mentioned before. They're waiting for another potential future false infusion of that fake money to bring this temporary false economic boom to an area.
Yep.
And yes, it happens. So people do have some shred of actual legitimate justification for holding on. But the cost of that is you are actually the problem. Or a notable part of the problem.
If you're not doing anything, I think you are the problem.
In so many things in life.
So many things in life.
Not just holding on to property that should be used. So let me get to my few points. I don't really have any notes for this.
Yeah, of what to do.
Of what to do, of actually how to pull this off. So one thing is, there's a bunch of things. Okay, it's a combination of, I think, a bunch of radical ideas that actually need to be, first probably embedded into the consciousness of the locals. So like the mayor and sheriff and their subordinates would have to be on the same page here, because this is truly if you continue to do what you've always done, you're going to, you know what I mean? Like, that has to, so in other words, it has to be broken. So you have to change. The everyday man on the ground has to actually change.
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
hey, town council member, asshole doing nothing. Guess what? Your paycheck's going to have to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Your position is just not needed anymore. Instead, we need to just free up the land. So I don't know how to do this, but at some level, the people who are just holding on to properties, who have done nothing with it for 50 years, 100 years, and yes, there are millions of these properties
Yep.
in America, maybe tens of millions. Those properties just have to get taken from them, period. And there does need to be then, yes, some kind of reclamation process where they can come in and say, oh, whoa, no, I'm actually going to use it. Here's my business plan.
Yeah.
I was already planning on, I just moved into the neighborhood next door. We're planning, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying like, screw someone.
Yeah.
I'm saying screw the fat. I'm saying cut the fat off of them. And then when they actually come back and visit the town, they'll see the massive economic boom and thank us for trimming their fat.
Yeah.
At the apparent loss of their holdout and future cash out, they'll come in and be like, oh my God, okay, well, how do I get involved now? Well, you were a landholder, now we'll give you some kind of special, like, whatever.
That's a good idea.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is there needs to be a bridge to this idea. I'm willing to admit that this is a big change. And so it's not going to happen instantly. And there has to be steps in that direction.
Yeah.
But radical steps in which people are doing something different every day and thinking different every day. Okay. Another one of those steps is big. This is a big thought. Get ready for it. The owner, quote, owner of a property must be involved on site somehow. So in other words, one guy who's got all the money in the world couldn't just come in and buy up a whole block.
Yeah.
He can be doing one thing, specializing in one area, one business.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there can't be general business manager consultants, which could be hired by multiple of the business.
Correct. To help with whatever
needs
needs to
be
be facilitated. But for the most part, you're just trying to grow a community.
Yep. Where
A small community that works together.
where that man or that family does that. They're gaining a reputation in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, because then this would all lead to trade instead of paper bullshit federal money. It would completely solve so many things.
Yep. Well, that would be one of the end eventualities of this is you could have a town money now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And if you want to come and do business in the town, well, first thing you do is go and hit up the money changer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, we're going way far now. Gosh, what's one of the other major points? So it's the I call it the owner on site concept, is what we just talked about. And you can even see that you can even see this now. Like that is clearly good. Like that one restaurant in this one town nearby, the bar/restaurant. It's like the owner on site.
Yeah.
And so it's actually probably the only bar/restaurant in that town that appears to be thriving. Okay. And then there's that, like they just rebuilt their building. You know, they're one of the only ones. They're the only ones that appears to be thriving.
Yeah.
And then there's another, like the only real coffee shop in that town that appears to be thriving. Owner on site again. So this is a proven. It must just be. There's no denying it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the other big thing is no property taxes and no just general business tax on profit. I'm not talking about like at a federal level, let the businesses all do the thing they've been. Well, that area it needs its own reform, but we'll let someone else handle that. I'm talking about locally, no county business tax or and I'm saying,
Well, I would think that you could long term delete all of that because then you're just a community working together.
again, you're going to the end.
Yeah.
The end eventuality.
I like
of
the
this.
end of this
Yes.
a lot more than the actual work to get there.
Yes, because spending time on that bridge, you're having to dance the old dance,
Yes.
which is accommodating greedy assholes,
Yeah.
which is the current mayors and council members.
Yeah.
Probably 99% of them are misguided, horrible, corrupt people. Period. They have to be gotten rid of.
Yeah.
Leeches on productive people.
Yeah. Just happy to be doing nothing and collecting a
So-
paycheck.
Gotta dance that old dance, maybe. This is why I've been saying for probably over 10 years now is we're just waiting for a certain generation to die off. Because before the ideas in my head, which are not my ideas, they're from God living in me, which is really just eliminating greed and everything that's wrong. But we've got this entire generation that is like, that's their lifeblood, is greedy thinking, materialistic thinking.
Well, yeah. They're,
I'm gonna
they're
get
a
mine.
product of that.
I'm going to get my pension and blah, 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 and sit on my ass for 25 years or whatever, as long as I can keep this meat suit,
Yeah.
live. Like, screw that thinking. Screw that.
The programming worked very well.
The programming programmed the programmable people of an entire generation. And you know what I think is funny is this is the generation that is like in their 70s approximately right now or older. This is the generation that was watching the technical age come in. So they barely had TVs. But they started off with that one propaganda sign off. You know what I'm talking about? Where it was the TV channels. You only had a couple,
Oh, I think I know what
But-
you're talking about.
but around like 10 p.m. or midnight, the channel would actually sign off, and they would play. And this played millions of times.
Yeah.
So almost every American, period, watched this sign off and got programmed.
Like
and
every night.
Yep. So they'd be watching their favorite TV show or whatever, and then hit the sign off. It's 9 p.m., 10 p.m., midnight, whatever it was. And the programming in the sign off, what was it? It was that song. It's
I wish we had the video to
Star
bring up.
Spangled Banner song.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's like the theme. What's the theme song of a country called? I don't even know. There's a phrase for it, but I'm so into that stuff. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's like the Star Spangled Banner song, and then the words are going across the screen, and it's actually like, you must obey government. It actually says government is your God or something like that. It says do not question government. Government is your God, over and over again. Okay. So that generation got programmed. And your average 70-year-old
A national
anthem. Yeah. The theme song of America.
I mean, that's what it is, right?
I'm such a okay. Yeah, I have a problem with the words because I'm a programmer, so I'm thinking not in English all day. And then when you're telling me I got to speak, I'm like, okay, I got to like open it. My brain has to like reopen up the English language and then try to pick words, and then I can't find them so quick.
Yeah. So was the national anthem.
I'm gonna see if we're live. 1 second. Okay, so YouTube is yes, and then I can't even tell what's going on with Odyssey. Whatever, we'll find out when we're done. Oh, and I'm recording. Yes, and I'm not going to edit this video. I don't want to ever get into the habit of editing. God, that takes so much time. Okay, so where are we at? We're at getting the mayor and sheriff on the page here. No property taxes. Somewhat nicely hijacking the high visibility, downtown strip, the surrounding blocks, and have some kind of a board of people with our thinking in which makers come, big thinkers, dreamers, actually, and people that are actually doing stuff. Not just people making business plans and trying to get investment, seed rounds. No. Do something.
Yeah.
You're carving wood
Yeah.
and selling it. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like doing something. Repair shop. All this stuff is as long as a man is doing something. I mean, it could be mental work too. Writers, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, because then you get those community workspaces that are awesome.
Yeah, the office space would be epic.
Just even having someone facilitate that and bringing free coffee and everything for people that want to.
Yep. And that's
join
why
in.
and that's why I always do love those shared workspace places. WeWork, of course.
Yeah.
The biggest example of it.
Yeah.
Because people there they're working on something. But I'm saying an entire city can be a WeWork.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Where there's actually that brings another idea into this. Like so the cheaper seats, the cheaper memberships at WeWork are non-reserved tables. Okay. So maybe in these cities, some of the locations are kind of like in flux, where it's like, your business isn't doing so good in the winters? Yeah, someone else just go and try to sell something in there on the main drag.
Yeah.
We're not selling too many ice shaving cones, whatever, in the summer.
Yeah.
So maybe someone can sell snow shovels there in that office in the winter.
It's funny. An example of that would be like your pop-up Halloween costume shops. They're always going into abandoned buildings or an open space in the mall just for the season.
Exactly. Yeah, it's in the same area of thought. Is there any other main ideas I had? So it's the no property tax, and I'm talking about like even people living in the city, like off the main drag, like miles away, literally no property tax. So the amount of, I should say, the value of that property would be way higher, because intrinsically, every man knows that you don't own that property. Intrinsically, every man has building up hatred of the quote government every time they're paying even if it's like $50 a year.
Yep.
There's this kernel of hatred there. And there can never be truly like, you can't ever be at ease where it's like,
I own this.
This is my land.
Yeah.
I have some kids. They're gonna be able to continue to live on it and feel that this is my land. I
Yeah.
can do anything with it.
Yep.
I can build if it's in closer to a downtown, build a business front. If you just want to have a house there, do it. You want to build a pool, no, none of that bullshit. And then of course that gets into regulations in general. Just like none. If you're not polluting the environment, if you're not doing something that's harming someone, just no regulations. Because what does regulation imply? It implies a slave master association, where someone or some group of corrupt people are your master,
Yep.
and you're just their slave. And they only exist because they're leeching off of your effort in some way.
Exactly.
whether it be the business tax, property tax, whatever. So how do we fund this whole thing? Simple. I mean, it could just be literally a sales tax where the people that are actually buying something like downstream at the end of the production or service chains, the final receiver of the product or service, sure, tax. 1%, 2%, whatever. Tiny. And that just goes to paying what is kind of in existence right now, but it would be made way less greedy, way less corrupt. So you'd have this board of people, and they could, and I would actually say they shouldn't be paid at all. They should just be respected community members, and because these aren't full-time jobs.
Yep.
You know, once this community is up and rolling, you've got your coffee shop, all your restaurants, your people manufacturing pants, wool pants down the road. You know, just all the things that we used to have in like railroad side Western towns, all the basics. Once all that's up and running, you don't need some day to day
Master.
master.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much is wrong right now. This idea, isn't it funny? Isn't it sad how simple this thinking is? It's just like, don't steal. Well, the current mayor and all of them, they're just stealing. They just exist by stealing. So let's stop that. Property taxes, well, that's just theft. So let's just stop that. So in other words, just remove all the corruption and you end up with what I'm talking about. This isn't anything revolutionary in terms of like a positive new concept. This is just remove the evil.
Yeah. If we could only.
And what are we left with? What I'm talking about. Because in real reality, think about this. Here's a big fucking idea. In real reality, if we're just like trading silver coins or shells for our money, well, how would one man own a franchise? Or not a franchise, but own a chain nationally? How would he physically manage that? It'd be almost impossible. So what I'm getting at is, if it's not local, like, screw it. Let someone off in some distant city do things there.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they can't get bootstrapped because they don't have enough people that want to live in that valley over there, hey, come and join us over here.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a natural equilibrium of people to locations, to natural resources, because we're in a three-dimensional physical reality. If an area doesn't support 1 million people, guess what? An area doesn't support 1 million people. It physically cannot happen.
I'm reminded of something that's going on right now with the cost of chicken eggs. Okay.
I saw a headline like that. Yeah.
And they used an example of a guy that owns a restaurant, egg-specific restaurant in Las Vegas. And he's hurting right now because the cost of eggs are so high.
Okay.
And all I could think of in my head is, why wouldn't you just have a local chicken farmer
Yeah.
supplying you with eggs?
Yeah. And this was
It's
just
not
one,
that hard.
This was just one single restaurant.
Yeah, that they were speaking of. Yeah.
Yeah. So all you need for that is, and if they're not a breakfast all day restaurant, I mean, what do you need? Like 30 chickens at the most?
I'm just saying, yeah, it can't be something ridiculous.
Yeah. They're not going through 300 eggs a day.
Who knows? But either way.
Hey, if they were, then we need chickens.
But look where he lives. In a huge, vast area where someone could own 100 acres and have chickens.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be regulated by the federal shit.
Yeah.
And they could just be for that restaurant.
Yep. So this is where you get the communities that have tried to crept up, and they have things called, farm to table.
Yes.
Whatever. But guess what? Most of the cities you find farm to table restaurants in are like San Francisco. I've been to one there.
Yeah.
New York City,
Yeah.
been to one there.
Yeah.
Their breakfast platters are like $17 to $25.
And they're growing the stuff right there.
Yeah. And they're that expensive is because of all the fat that hasn't been trimmed off in the
Yeah.
in the whole process.
Yes.
And by fat in this context, I mean
All the taxes that
regulation,
they need to pay.
taxes, the trying to get those organic eggs from 2 or 3 counties over,
Yeah.
when the chickens could be literally behind the restaurants.
In the backyard. Yeah.
Yeah. And they could be getting their beef from, I mean, obviously you couldn't have that like literally on the edge of the downtown strip. That's a mile down the road.
But still,
4 miles down the road.
it doesn't have to be coming from China or, some
wouldn't-
distant
you
land.
you wouldn't even need a car, I think, if this all were to happen.
Yeah.
I think you could send your young kitchen aide, hey, go run to the farmer down the road. 2 miles is nothing for someone who's young.
Mm-hmm.
Just take a little, run with the rickshaw thingy, load up 50 pounds of beef and jog back. Dude, I could do that in my 40s. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't even need a car. So there goes all the massive fat that's included in the fat
Yep.
of all the inefficiencies that can be lopped off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think actually we're going to have to, I'm talking about this is going to happen. This isn't, I wish this would happen. I'm seeing the future right now.
Well, I just saw a meme today. I think Mike Adams made it. It was a coin off of planes, trains, and automobiles.
Okay.
A play off of that, but it was no planes, no trains, no automobiles.
Yeah.
And it was like a picture of two a senator, politician people. Talking about the FAA failing on their communication, like software is 30 plus years old and they have
Yeah.
no backup system.
Yeah.
They're just trying to fail the airplanes altogether. They're doing away with combustion engines in California and possibly other states.
Well, that's a whole other topic.
I'm just saying they're trying to get rid of our transportation. So why not
So
do something
You're right.
ahead of that so we don't have to worry
Well,
about what they're doing?
That's why we're putting this out into the universe right now. I don't care if no one ever sees this.
Yeah.
We're putting it into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll make this recording here, and then I'll be thinking of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that means I'm transmitting it. And that means that other people will be receiving it.
Yeah.
That's why free will is such a cool thing. Whatever you think of, others are picking up. And if you're one that is the generator and pusher of ideas, if those ideas are positive, other people will positively receive them and start doing whatever you're thinking of.
Yeah.
I've had this happen on countless fronts in my life. I start thinking about something, I wish this was this way, blah, blah, blah. And then within 5 to 10 years, oh, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing that now. What are you talking about? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That brings me to something I was talking about earlier. Just like how we hear the evil side has to tell us what they're doing before they do it.
That's what they're
It's because
doing.
they need the power of the thoughts of the people to actually make it happen.
Yep,
Otherwise, it has zero power whatsoever. So
Yep.
we need to think on positive things and things that will change in a positive light.
Yep. So let's get back on track here. I mean, is there any other big ideas for my anti-ghost townification strategy? We still would need, let's talk about the sheriff and policing, right? So I mentioned that we would get the sheriff and deputies and his whole department on that page. And I say that because here in America, the sheriff actually predates the Antichrist takeover of America. So that's a big, almost no one's going to understand that. But the Union of States, as it was in the 1800s, was more of like the European Union, where people know that, oh, that's Italy. Oh, that's Poland. Like they're their own countries. Okay, that's all the states are and always have been. But the evil came in and corrupted men's minds on this land of the states and wrangled all the states, countries together and told us, no, we're just one big country. And your leader is this foreign nation called District of Columbia. That's why in U.S. code today, United States is defined as District of Columbia and, some islands or whatever.
Yep.
So what I'm trying to say is the sheriff predates that corruption, and they could go back to acting in that capacity. But we would need to make them realize that you are currently serving the evil beast system. Sheriffs and their entire department, they're getting money from the federal government. They would have to stop that. They might have to lay off some people. Oh, but that's not always a bad thing. That's just change. Maybe half your staff doesn't want to be there because they don't. More than half of them hate their jobs.
Yeah.
Guarantee it. Probably 99% of them hate their jobs, want to do something else. Well, guess what? We need people to operate the businesses in the town and take care of the chickens and the cows. These people could do that if that's what they want to do. Because this new thinking would allow it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Because they wouldn't be having to worry about paying these ridiculous
Yes.
fees just to live.
Because
so people
they
just take on jobs that they could care less about because they're afraid that they won't be able to make their payments.
The beauty of this system is it's easy to sell if you're allowed to present the idea in its full. Because it means that people can just go and use their natural talents and go do what you should be doing instead of working for a paycheck, which way over 90% of cops and sheriff's department people are doing, period. That's a fact.
Not even, you could say across the board with most jobs.
Some people are meant to be the sheriff. It's just in their DNA. It's like me.
Born leader.
Like I'm supposed to be a sheriff carrying a gun, walking around town and making sure the bad guy knows that if you do something wrong, I'm just going to kill you. If it's justified, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to get that vibe and be like, damn, not going to do anything bad here. Okay. I think about that movie with The Rock, goes around with a baseball bat. He's the sheriff, right? I think that's like the model for what a sheriff could be and should be. The people of the town just know that he's the Shire Reeve, the homeland defender, Shire, hometown. So the sheriff literally means the homeland defender.
Yeah.
Not the federal stooge who's there to hold up some false idea of law enforcement and whatever, all that bullshit. Oh, and police? Well, that's an easy conversation. Out of business. We're no longer... See, the counties pay for police departments, just like they pay for a copy machine maintenance contract. Same thing. Oh, we need copy machines? Let's get a maintenance contract and let them provide that. Oh, you want some extra money coming in? Let's hire a police department corporation. Okay, we'll pay them $1.5 million a year for a real small town. 5 guys, 10 guys.
Yeah.
And that is a thing that then the town hopes to get a return on that investment. So they hope to be able to leach 1.8 million, or I should say, that's what the policing company could take in. They take their revenue, they give some to the city or town or county, whoever's paying. Police are literally just private. They're more akin to like a private defense. What's it called? A private security firm, who happens to be not just being on watch and alerting people of crime. They instead happen to be the criminals themselves. and they're protecting their own criminality. That's what the whole thin blue line is all about. You can go into a police shop today and see that right on the wall it says, first and foremost, they're working for their own agency. Like their first priority is to
Okay.
defend themselves.
Yeah. It's no longer about the Constitution anymore.
Yeah, well, for police, it never was. They were always a hired agency of an incorporated city
Yeah.
or town, which, to deviate from the conversation even further, is just a child corporation of District of Columbia, which is a child corporation of the Antichrist system.
Yeah.
Vatican.
Well, you could even argue that most of them are Freemasons and have taken blood oaths to uphold another degree of horrible things.
and that's one way how, and I actually think that that's on purpose to be able to have like some, as you said,
Hold on
another
them.
layer of hold on people is because if you quit your police job, well, you're still a brother in the brotherhood, and now you're going to go and form a private security firm.
Always happens.
In which, yeah, that's why I said it. In which, just coincidentally, we're recommending to everyone in the area that needs your services. Yeah,
Exactly.
you know, politician from other state comes in. Oh, you need to call our buddy over there. Hire that private security firm,
Yep.
right? Yeah, we need to eliminate all of that and
Yeah.
call it all out. Shine the light on those roaches.
Yep.
Ideally crush them as they're trying to run away so they don't come back out, but at least keep the light shining. And at the most abstract sense of what I'm talking about is just that, just shining light on corruption
Yeah.
so that it goes away. You know what, I like the concept of just the idea of light versus darkness. I'm talking about literal, the light versus dark. Say you've got a room, it's just a cube, and there's a light switch. Okay, there's no windows. It's absolute darkness. You hit the light switch, and the light turns on. Is there any darkness remaining in that room?
I mean, if I would have to get into it, I would ask you, like, is there any objects in the room
Nope, totally
that are
empty.
causing shadows?
Totally
Because
empty.
then I would say no.
There's no shadows. I mean, there's no objects.
Okay.
Right. And it's in the Bible. You know, light casts out darkness. Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's you know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is where the two are, one has absolute victory. Period.
Yeah.
By the rules
Yeah.
of nature.
Yeah.
You can't have light shining on the ground and a roach not see it and just stay there and do his corrupt thing, right? Not going to happen. So that's why, again, why we're putting this out there, and we're gonna keep on this topic and this kind of topic, because eventually some mayor out there who is maybe a little bit younger, you know, not in the worst generation, the boomers, and maybe he'll be like, damn, these guys are right. Like my town is about to be ghost towned,
Yeah.
and hey, contact us. I'll come out there and lead up that board. We'll get this shit rolling. 2023. Let's get this shit rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. All it takes is someone actually doing something.
Hey, yeah. And I'm willing to do it. I'll pick up a baseball bat, scare off those roaches, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I think that's it. No,
Yeah.
that's the basics of my ghost townification combating. Is it's going to happen.